Hello, everyone. It's your girl Tay here, and I'm bringing you another Let's Talk Wild podcast episode. Today is January 30th, 2025, and this is episode 70 Animal Folklore Weather Predictors Groundhog and Friends. When you think about animals that can predict weather, you think of the groundhog, but the groundhog isn't the only animal thought to have weather predicting abilities. Some insects and amphibian and other mammals have their ways of telling us if the sun will shine or if the rain or snow will blow in. But before we get into all of that, no matter where you're listening or watching, please support by subscribing, following, liking, and sharing. Turn on your notifications so you can be notified when I upload. You can support the podcast by becoming a member or sending a donation to Venmo or PayPal. The links will be in the description box. Y'all already know the drill. Now, let's talk wild. The weather on the East Coast recently, we've had a couple of snowfalls, but here in Maryland, the weather switches so fast. It could be like below temps and freezing, and then out of nowhere it warms up and then it gets cold again. So it's very wishy-washy here in Maryland. But I do enjoy the different season changes. I also don't mind if we have a long winter. I'll just start my seedlings in the house or the greenhouse. I leave the leaves on the ground. I don't want to do anything in the garden until the weather is a steady like 50 degrees and above at night. I don't need to wake the animals that are hibernating or brumating like my garter snakes. I let them rest until the soil and temperatures are warm enough for them to wake up, stretch their bodies, and get moving before I start moving things around, I ain't waking up the garter snakes like they waking up the groundhog on Groundhog Day, which is in a few days. But before we talk about Punxsutawney Phil, the animal superstar let's talk about the different folklore tales and traditions of animals predicting the weather. Let's start with the insects. The smalls are up first. The woolly bear caterpillars. If the black bands on its body are longer or wider, that means a longer winter will occur. Now, the legend L. Roker actually talked about these caterpillars, and that's how I found out about these little woolly weather cute caterpillars. I love their colors. I'm into y'all know I love Rottweilers, Doberman Pinschers. I love their colors, the black and the brown. So that's what it's giving. These woolly bear caterpillars are definitely giving that, and I'm loving it. Yeah. Ladybugs, also known as lady beetles, also known as ladybirds, when they swarm, it's likely to be warm. Okay, bars. If they are looking for shelter, clustering together, then the cold could be coming. I was told as a child that if a ladybug lands on you, it means good luck. And I forgot who told me that, but it always stuck with me as a child, and I always thought it was true because they land on me all the time. I find them in my house all the time, and they're just great in the garden. They get rid of all the aphids, the pests, and yes, I love the ladies. Okay, loving the ladies. Okay. But I never knew about their weather predicting ability. The lady has many talents. Crickets. According to the NOAA, the relationship between cricket chirping and temperature has been noted for a long time. In Western science, it is called Dolbear's Law, after the most widely referenced early publication on the phenomenon published in 1897 by Amos Dolbear. His observations show that you can count the number of chirps per 15 seconds, add 40, and that will give you the temperature in Fahrenheit. End quote. I'll try this in the summer when the crickets are singing their little hearts out outside of my window in the garden and whatnot. I've always enjoyed the sound of crickets, especially when I would go to Virginia. The crickets, the cicadas, they all would be my nature symphony, and I loved it so much. I also love birds. According to the National Park Service, if birds fly low, expect rain and blow. When the air pressure is high, it is easier for birds to fly at a higher altitude. If the air pressure is low, indicating bad weather, birds can't fly as high because the air is less dense. End quote. Birds are great indicators, I think, for a lot of things. I've said before how growing up in the inner city, I knew something bad was happening like in the neighborhood when I would wake up and the birds were not chirping. No birds, something was ready to go down if it wasn't happening already, like a raid at somebody's house, the street pharmaceuticals being sold, and there's a line full of addicts trying to get their fix. Yeah, the birds let you know what's up. They let you know what's up. And frogs will let you know what's up too. Y'all know they ain't never been too shy to burst out in a tune. Frogs become more vocal and loud before it rains because the rain, it brings a great ambience, brings a great mood, setting the mood to find a mate. Yes. So if the rain is coming, the male frogs are putting on their best mating call to attract the ladies. The frog said the rain is the right mood to woo the ladies. And you know what? I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. When the mood is right, it's right. And sometimes a rainy night does it for me, Wink, wink. And when you support the Let's Talk Wild podcast, that does it for me too. So make sure you subscribe, follow, share, and like on all podcasting platforms. If you would like to support even further, you could become a podcast member or donate to the Let's Talk Wild PayPal or Venmo. The links will be in the description box. Now, let's hop back into the show. Cue the animals. Now let's head on down to the farm. Y'all like my little country accent. I try. People up north say that I'm from Baltimore, that I sound like I'm from the South. And then people from the South say I sound like I'm from, up north and stuff. So, honey, what is it? What is it? But yes, let's head on down to the farm. Cows, even though they say this isn't scientifically proven, they say cows lie down before it starts to rain. There is also a saying that a cow's tail to the west makes the weather best. A cow's tail to the east makes the weather least. This is based on the idea that cows don't like the wind in their faces while grazing, and the western winds are associated with fair weather and eastern winds are associated with bad weather. So basically the cows are going to get our wind direction together. Okay. Like don't face that way. The wind, the bad weather is coming, honey. I'm facing this way. Like, they gonna get you together, okay? For sheep, according to the Farmer's Almanac, if they huddle together, the rain or snow is coming. The idea of sheep being huddled together with their nice full hair with a light sprinkle of snow on them. Oh my goodness, it sounds like a beautiful scene to see. But I get it. Huddling together to brace themselves for the weather and to stay warm, or because they sense a predator nearby. It makes sense. In Roman folklore, if a hedgehog was seen at the start of February, then warmer weather was to come. No hedgehog, no good weather. The winter days will continue. February 2nd is actually National Hedgehog Day. So you got Groundhog Day, you got National Hedgehog Day on February 2nd. Yes, because the hedgehog said, listen, I'm the one that started this all back in the day, okay? I was the first, allegedly. I was the first animal to do this, because there's some other animals that we're going to talk about that, has this same story with them. February, the shadow, the no good weather coming out of the den. Yeah, they got that whole spiel. So, yeah, so February 2nd is also National Hedgehog Day. In Irish folklore, seeing a hedgehog on the first day of spring, St. Bridget's Day on February 1st, is a sign of good weather. The hedgehog is basically a superstar at this point. It's been a superstar. It was a superstar way before Sonic. The hedgehog, that is. Oop. Sorry, Sonic, it's no shade, but the facts are the facts. Clearly, the hedgehogs been setting trends, honey. They said, listen, we've been that. Before, we didn't need this fast-running hedgehog to make us famous, honey. We got folklore and stories from way back. Like, for real, way back. In Hungary folklore, if a bear emerges from its cave and if it's sunny and it sees its shadow, it will return to hibernate. If it's cloudy, winter is almost over. So shout out to the brave folk who waited around for a bear to wake up to tell them if they could start pulling out their spring clothes. Y'all already know when the weather start breaking a little something, you start, getting those pieces that you put away. You put away your spring, you put away your summer stuff. Soon as the weather break, it's like, okay, girl, let's pull out these different clothing, like items of clothing for each season. You got to switch it up, rotating the clothes or whatever. Pulling out your spring clothes. Just like on February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog, he will be pulled from his den and used to predict if spring will arrive early. If he sees a shadow, allegedly we will have a long winter and he'll go back to sleep to continue to hibernate, I guess. But groundhogs, also known as woodchucks, also known as marmots, also known as the ground squirrels, are part of the rodent order, which are classified by their upper and lower incisor teeth that continue to grow throughout their lives. They are the largest order of mammals, and 40% of all mammal species are rodents. And the groundhogs have been given the responsibility of letting Pennsylvanians and other Americans know if there will be a long or short winter ahead of us. According to the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club, the Christian religious holiday Candlemas Day was celebrated on February 2nd, and Christians would take their candles to the church to have them blessed. They felt by doing this, it would bring blessings to their household for the remaining winter. And as time passed, the day evolved into another form. Part of the English folk song goes, "If Candlemas be fair and bright, come winter, have another flight. If Candlemas brings clouds and rain, go winter and come not again." End quote. There was no mention of a groundhog, but when this tradition was introduced to Germans, they marked it as Badger Day. A badger would emerge from its den, and if it saw its shadow on Candlemas Day, there would be more weeks of winter. When Germans settled in the U.S., they brought this tradition with them, using the groundhog as a substitution for their badger. The first Groundhog Day was in Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania in 1887. The Pennsylvania community has continued this custom through the years, and in 1899, the Groundhog Club was founded. Now, let's get into my final wild thoughts. Y'all know how I feel about humans. If you don't know, I'm ready to say it again. Humans need to know what is next, always. Instead of letting things play out, we must know what's to come. I think waking up, hibernating animals to guess the weather is unnecessary. The weather is going to weather. It's going to do its thing. Climate change will do its thing. But I do understand the cultural aspect of the process, and I'm not mad about it. It's tradition and no animals are being harmed, but I still find it unnecessary. But at least Phil, the groundhog, is cute. I'll be posting the result of Groundhog's Day 2025 on the Let's Talk Wild social media pages. So check in to see what the weather will allegedly be for us, okay? But the hedgehog, bear, badger, and groundhog, all of their lore to me comes from that one tale that has spread by word of mouth, and depending on the region, a different animal was chosen to keep the snow prediction going. I have a question for myself and for you all. I thought about it. Out of all of these animals, which one I would absolutely count on to predict the weather correctly? I'm gonna have to go with the birds. I mean, they been telling your girl what's been going on. Okay, been. But yeah, a lot of animals have been letting us know the tea. You just have to pay attention to them. Which animal would you count on to tell you the weather? Leave a comment and let me know how you feel about today's topic: animal folklore weather predictors, groundhog and friends. No matter where you're listening or watching, please support by subscribing, following, liking, and sharing. Turn on your notifications so you can be notified when I upload. You can support the podcast by becoming a member or sending a donation to Venmo or PayPal. The links will be in the description box. Love yourself, one another, your pets, and the animals. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.